Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello and welcome back.
So I had this all up, and then all of a sudden somebody took over my computer. I see my little mouse indicator here going everywhere I don't want it to go, and had to just unplug and reboot because they don't want us talking to you guys.
That's a pretty good indication that somebody got a hold of you.
Yeah, which we know. We understand the bigger picture. The Pentagon locked down after shooting at Facilities Transit Center. Officer reportedly among several injured. And if we jump over to Zero Hedge, it'll give you some links to some tweets. So shots fired about an hour and a half after the first reports of a shooting incident outside Pentagon Transit Center. The Pentagon has released a statement saying that the incident area is secure. Scene of the incident is secure. It's an active crime scene. We request that everybody stay away from the Metro Rail entrance and bus platform center. Transportation at the Pentagon is diverted to Pentagon City. NBC Washington reports multiple people were wounded outside the Pentagon Transit Center at about 10:30 Eastern Time after a shooting incident. One of those injured was an officer, so they say. The Pentagon remains in lockdown. And the Pentagon is currently locked down due to the shooting incident. At least one person was down, according to two people familiar with the shooting, who spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to release information publicly. As you can see a picture here of the activity ongoing. And this tweet talks about two people getting CPR done. Multiple shots fired, as we see. So this is really curious. Wonder what was up with that. Asked Cindy if she had any impressions on it, and you felt that it might have been sleeper related.
I do. First thing I saw was I don't even want to say what nationality because I don't want to get in trouble, but an older man, and I'll let you fill in other blanks, but an older man that has been there for a really long time. So it feels like something went down around him. We'll see what they tell us and what else comes up.
Yes, and possibly connections to the fine dining ware.
Yes.
Is what we're kind of getting at in some way, shape, or form, and this might be a much bigger incident than we know at the moment. This is still like really ongoing, possible mine attack, or something else. Incident unfolding in Gulf waters as international aircraft dispatched. As you see here, Iranian Quds Force Telegram channel is the first report on Golden Brilliant oil tanker has hit a naval mine in the Gulf of Oman. Actually, there's a lot going on right now in this area. So, mine exploded in a tanker in international waters in the Gulf of Oman. And here we see unconfirmed reports involving the vessel Asphalt Princess off Fujairah. We know incident reported as ongoing by UK MTO location and gives the designated area. Aircraft is currently watching the area, and you have these MH-53Es basically sent to the area to clear mines. And here we see British Navy group saying potential hijack of a ship off the UAE coast. British Navy warned Tuesday of potential hijack of a ship off the coast of the UAE. And so, they're talking about that. But what's curious is earlier, 4 oil tankers announced around the same time via their automatic identification system trackers that they were not under command. According to marinetraffic.com, that typically means the vessel has either lost power or they can no longer steer. 4 others, right? So that's like 5 in total that there's issues with. An Oman Royal Air Force Airbus C-295 MPA, a Marine patrol aircraft, was flying over the area where the ships were, according to data from Flight Radar 24. That may be a good site to look at today. The event comes days after a drone struck an oil tanker linked to an Israeli billionaire off the coast of Oman. killing 2 crew members. The West blamed Iran for the attack, which marked the first known assault to have killed civilians in a year-long shadow war, targeting commercial vessels in the region. This is what we've been talking about. This is covert warfare that's been going on for quite a while. Iran denied playing any role in the incident, though Tehran and allied militias have used similar drone attacks in previous times. Now, looking at what's breaking out as far as different tweets coming through, as we see this original one on the Asphalt Princess and the oil tanker Golden Brilliantly with that infamous not under command. That almost makes me feel, again, piracy-ish. And then we see this, according to one source, a group of 8 to 9 armed individuals boarded a ship, one of those ships that were not under command. So what's really going on? So they say a non-piracy. Well, what do they mean? Is it an act of war? Is that it? Simple, as you got multiple ships saying that. And, we see the rhetoric. Here you see Iran ready to deliver crushing military response after tanker attack. Iran on Sunday issued a formal denial that it was behind the major Thursday night drone attack on Mercer Street oil tanker off Oman that was managed by an Israeli firm that left 2 crew members dead. But both the United States and Israel on the same day charged that Tehran was without a doubt behind the attack, which the U.S. Navy previously said involved multiple explosive drones targeting the vessel in the Arabian Sea. So Iran's press TV subsequently responded on Monday by vowing a strong and crushing military response to any hostile moves against the country. And then you have the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, warning that an appropriate response is coming. So then what are we currently seeing?
We're seeing quite a lot. We're seeing quite a lot go on behind the scenes that's not being fully explained to us, in an open way. And I do know that there's other different shadow ideas that are going on behind the scenes too. But this is really when we have to sit on this and put on our discernment hat and say, okay, what's real, what's going on, and not just take whatever is being spoon-fed to us.
Yes, I had that first sip of coffee this morning. I'm very used to now a new procedure, which is really a really good way to do things. And start out the day with some baking soda and water and lemon to alkalize yourself.
It's good stuff.
Yes, and then I could have some coffee, which is a little bit on the acidic side, but wakes you up. Russian ambassador claims the U.S. is expelling 24 diplomats. Now, the State Department is denying it. If you can't read the writing on the wall by now, I don't think you could read. It's very, very obvious that this is not the same as it has been in the past, where we've had incidents and then, things calm down. This feels most definitely like this is ramping up, as we had said in yesterday's video, to events of historic proportions. And we know that they've had this plan for the very longest time. Whether you believe not in the statement of A. Pike, Albert there, who was a Confederate general, who was a 33rd degree Masonic member, an insider's insider, and back in 1871, in his famous letter to his friend who actually brought him into the Masons, he spoke about the plans for 3 world wars and gave some details on World War I, II, and III. He even talked about how Israel would have to come back into existence in order to create that religious tension that, again, could ultimately lead to these wars manifesting. Again, it's all about control through politics and religion. And again, the religious part of it, that's when we run into the most problems, as far as they don't want people getting out of those systems. They want people to be very fundamentalist. Because if you're a fundamentalist, you tend to see things in black and white. and you're not open to looking really outside of the box because you've jumped totally in that box. You've pulled yourself into that box, and everything you're going to see is going to be through that lens. And so it's all either, acts of God, you cannot stop what's happening, which they like that idea.
Yeah.
Because they don't want us to jump timelines. As long as we act out what they've given us, then many people are not going to make the ascension and are going to be stuck in this 3D, 4D loop for multiple lifetimes after, in which the likelihood of them controlling the souls increases. And ultimately, this is all about really a battle for your soul. So this is where there's so much truth, and then there's so much distortion in our religious systems, because they're a mixture of truth and distorted lies at the same time.
All tied with a nice pretty bow to keep everybody in control.
Yeah. So one of the people that's following the channel for a long time, and I know she's following the channel, but she's very, very much fundamentalist. Can't seem to get her mind out. She's like, "Why are you quoting the Bible if you don't fully believe in it?" Again, it's like it's like you wrote a story or a book, and then you hand it to the teacher, right? And the teacher knows this is a great story. This is really, really good. But you know what? This is just a kid. I'm gonna take this story and I'm gonna change it here, there. I'm gonna go get it published, and I'm gonna make millions. You could view it in that sense. So so many things are changed here and there. The whole thrust of the story might totally change, but somebody else is in control of the narrative. And so again, that's part of this, because this is all about, again, why is Iran at odds with Israel? It's well, religion is the main driver there. Again, we're divided by our different religions. If we just saw that the only religion we really need to embrace is that of love and compassion, with not dogma taking part in zero of that, the grip on us would be lessened so much.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't see people blowing themselves up in marketplaces. You wouldn't see the crusades. You wouldn't see all the persecution that goes on. This is one of their major tools. It's a major dark side tool. So yes, here we have again this ramping up of what appears to be really the start of potentially another global conflict, as we've had so much covert warfare going on, and we keep seeing more and more new hypersonic missile systems going on and ways of delivering them. Russia developing new X-95 air-launched, long-range hypersonic missile. They don't telegraph things like this because it's going to be a nothing burger. And they've been telegraphing this. They've been putting this out there, along with, the submarines that could get 12 miles off the coast, or even hang out 200 miles. And before you know it, just in seconds, these missiles could be impacting. And talk about things that are very odd coincidences. Fourth police officer who responded to the Capitol unrest found dead amid spate of suicides. It's amazing. Yes, it is kind of depressing out there at times, and there's a lot of stress on the officers out there for sure. A lot of stress on military personnel. Well, I don't know, four that responded found dead. Some things are getting to be very, very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Very obvious. And even those that have been sleeping, that have been, what we would say are sheeple or zombies, even those are starting to wake up. So as we see coming through here on Sputnik, one reportedly dead after that shooting. Pentagon, da, da, da. At least one person was down. So yeah, they're reporting that somebody has died. As we see the location here, you know, guys, it really does feel so much like we're heading towards another September of 2001 type of spate of incidents, perhaps.
Well, the energies are rising. They're on the rise, but I really want to try to look at this as a time where things might seem to be falling apart, but it's a great opportunity for us to seize and get some healing out of this, get some resolve, get some truth. And with the truth, we can all start to heal a little bit. At least we know what we're facing at that point.
So it appears that the lockdown has been lifted. There was a gunman that was able to get inside the Pentagon building and was shot by a Pentagon police officer. One person dead, gunman neutralized, and people being treated in the hospital right now. So we'll have more information on that later. And I want to just, send prayers and everything to positive energy to the family of this police officer who was found dead. Again, another one that had responded to the incident of that infamous date.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. hits 70% V rate, a month behind schedule, as we know about Delta for sure. 70%. It was interesting. I was looking at some of the numbers from some of the European countries that weren't as high. And in other countries, the U.S. is very high up there with that 70%.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I wish we had those DEAGEL numbers available to us still.
Great.
Yeah. So what is really going on behind the war on home ownership? It's a nation of renters. That's the American dream now, to own nothing and you will be happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
As we look at the BlackRock sign, because they're buying it all up. This is all part of that AGENDA 2030 that starts in 2021. And it's so obvious we're on schedule.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate.
We're on schedule, right? I mean, when you think about it, and so by 2030, you will own nothing and you will be happy about it. That's what they're telling us as this is bringing it up. And it's becoming a nation of renters. And then at some point, are we going to all be in mega cities? Are we going to all be shuffled into mega cities when you have to get into the line over there to go get your food? Don't forget to bring you don't need to have a card that's going to be stamped like in the old days.
Right.
This will all be done digitally, so they'll know you've had your 6 eggs for the week. Sorry, no more eggs for you, no more cheese for you. You could have an extra spinach, though.
Yeah, it's because they love us and they know what's best for us, of course.
Yes, and meanwhile, will the billionaires of the world have any limitations on them? Of course not.
Nah.
How about the corporate executives? No, they won't have any limitations on them. They'll be able to pick from more.
Mm-hmm.
Yellowstone volcano rocked by record number of earthquakes. USGS forecast increase over 1,000 earthquakes last month. Record high. So we'll keep an eye on that, although we haven't gotten that the likelihood of Yellowstone going in our lifetime is very large.
No, we haven't. So we just keep an eye on that, at least in the sense where anything natural is concerned. Now, something that might add artificial flavors to it, that might be different.
It's true. Record wildfires burn amid drought on Hawaii's Big Island, and you can see how bad the smoke is. When you think about it being on an island with wildfires going, that's even scarier because in many ways there might only be like one sort of route to get to somewhere else or people piling onto boats.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's the biggest fire they've ever had on the island. So says Big Island Mayor Mitch Roth of the more than 62 square mile blaze. And with the drought conditions they've had, it's of concern. It almost makes you think, how could they have drought when you're surrounded by water like that? When you go out into the Caribbean, for instance, there's just always rain. There's always bands of rain coming in, typically. Unless perhaps, somebody's turning the hose off, right, so to speak. So I want to thank everybody that's trying out medicinal foods and glad to see all the positive affirmations that you guys are really enjoying it. Definitely a lot of items here that can help you to boost your immune system in so many ways, and yet give you some really good taste and convenience as well. And when you do order from Medicinal's Foods, it does go to support the channel. Thank you guys too for your support on Patreon. We couldn't do it without you, and also on Ko-Fi. If you need to set an appointment for energy work or astrological charts, anything like that, spiritual coaching, it's evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com and EEARTS@protonmail.com. And typically it's about right now about 1 to 2 weeks out. So we're getting in better shape now that we're a little more rooted, at least for the moment.
Yep.
But we're always ready to take off at a moment's notice.
Always.
Because we know the powers that be, and we know that there's certain projects out there, and so you have to be aware. As always, guys, stay prepared. This is a big time with big escalations going on. God bless. Namaste.
Namaste.